Hi, I'm Mike Griffin, and today we're going to take a look at a popular RV tire pressure monitoring system, or TPMS. We'll be unboxing and installing a TPMS made by a company called Tst Systems Technologies. There are quite a few monitoring systems that are often mentioned in RV forums and in RV groups on Facebook, but the TST TPMS is usually well regarded by users online, as is the Tire Minder made by Minder Research. Others often mentioned are systems made by EEZ RV Products and Tire Tracker. But today, we're going to focus on the TST Tire Pressure Monitoring System. Let's get started. About 2 years ago, I bought this Tire Minder TPMS from Minder Research and have been using it ever since. TPMS units are usually pretty simple. They have transmitting sensors that screw into the valve stem of each tire, a monitor that receives the sensor signals and displays tire pressure and temperatures, and if needed, a signal booster to repeat the sensor signals if they're too far away from the monitor. When I was at the Tampa RV Super Show a couple of weeks ago, I met a salesman from Tst Systems Technologies, and we talked for a few minutes. When I told him that I had the Tire Minder system, and when he learned that I often review products like these, he offered to send me a TST system for review. A few days ago, I received it, and thought it'd be a good idea to share the installation with everyone by making this video. Before we open the box, I should tell you that my RV is a 44-foot motorhome and I pull a 16-foot pickup truck. Since my coach has a tag axle, I have 8 tires on the rig and another 4 on the truck for a total of 12 tires that will need sensors. Because my setup is about 65 feet in overall length, one of my biggest concerns is whether or not the monitor up in the driver's area will be able to receive signals sent all the way from the rear tires of the truck. My Tire Minder system had frequent issues with this that could only be resolved by adding 2 signal boosters. So, before we take a look at what's inside the box, let's take a look at the box. On the box it says that the device has a color monitor. Now that's kind of new to me because Tire Minder doesn't have a color monitor, and maybe their current version does. I haven't looked at the latest that Tire Minder has. Like I said, I bought mine a couple of years ago, but in looking at this, it has a new color monitor. They didn't used to have one. It also can monitor up to 38 tires. Now, I know RVs don't typically have 38 tires. If yours does, I want to see a picture of it. But you might be hauling a trailer and maybe your trailer has a car in it or something and you want to monitor more tires. Maybe you want monitors on your golf cart or something, and that can be kind of important to you. I don't know. Regardless, it also can monitor up to 218 PSI. Well, that's good. I mean, I don't know any tires that any RVers use that run 218 PSI, but if you do, it should work with that. The box also contains, besides that color monitor, it contains 6 sensors. Now, my RV has 8 sensors, so what they did was they sent me in a pack here of 2 additional sensors. Also, for your tow vehicle, they have a pack of 4 sensors with a device that lets you put the sensor on, because these sensors, unlike the ones I have for Tire Minder, can be put on in a way that you can, once they're on, you can try to screw them unloose and they won't come off. They're harder to steal. Another thing I noticed right away is that the sensors are larger than the ones for Tire Minder. I'm going to take one out here and look at this. This is the TST sensor. Now, the TST sensor that I've got is called a cap sensor. They also have sensors that are flow-through sensors. A flow-through sensor has a thing on the end here that lets you, while this is installed on your tire, you can actually inflate your tire through that flow-through. These are not that way. If you want to inflate your tire while you have these, you must remove them. Look at the size difference, though, between the Tire Minder sensor and the TST sensor. It's a pretty sizable difference here. So it'll be interesting to see how these work. Okay, let's open the box. The box, pull this out. The box has all the components in one box here. It looks like the 6 sensors are right at the top, and the color monitor is right at the top as well. I noticed there's a piece of paper in here. This seems to be the instruction manual. So it's good to have an instruction manual. It looks like it has quite a few pages with common questions and even some nice color pictures to show the way. I'm going to remove this plastic top that has the monitor and the sensors, and inside there is something that you can suction cup mount for the monitor. It looks like there's some sort of a, I guess that's a dash mount for the monitor. I haven't read the instructions yet. There's also some adapters for power, like a 12-volt cigarette adapter and a USB plug here, and a repeater, or a signal booster, if you will, for the system, for, as I talked before, if the monitor is too far away from the sensors. There also seems to be some stickers here. I guess you can identify your sensors or put them on to identify which ones are which when you're looking at the monitor and the sensors. And finally, in the box, there's one last thing. This is a quick installation guide. How do you code the sensors to the display? How you make them interact with each other. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off and I'm going to read these instructions. And I'm not going to read them out loud to you here, but I'm going to read these instructions. And then after I've done that, I'm going to come back and we're going to install and set up the TST tire pressure monitoring system. So we'll be back. Okay, let's take a look at how to put this whole thing together. First of all, it comes with a card that says it's a quick installation guide, and it's actually pretty good. I've looked through all of the individual directions on the card, and it explains everything very well. So what we're going to do is go through how to code these sensors so that you can attach each sensor to the monitor, to the display. Before doing that, it's a good idea to take their stickers. Now, they give you these stickers, and you can see where that's the front of the coach, and you can use these stickers to label the individual sensors. Now, I'm going to have a total of 12 tires on my system, so I've taken the stickers with labeled 1 through 8 for the coach, and T1 through T4 for the tow vehicle, my pickup truck. When you take these stickers and I put them on the sensors like this. This is the last one. I put all the others on. This is sensor number 7. So that way you can go back and know which ones go on which tires when you're done programming everything. So it makes it a lot easier to keep track of the sensors. Before we go any further on that, I want to show you how this little tool works. When you put these on, this inner thing here on the sensor holds to the valve stem, and this outside can spin. That way nobody can steal it very easily. So they give you this tool, and with this tool it goes around it like this, and you just put it on the top like this, or put it around the edge, and it locks in there. And then you can just spin this. When you turn this outer part, just hold the tool, and you'll be able to screw it in, and when it's hand tightened, then you just remove this, and after that it's free spinning. Okay, well, let's take a look at the monitor, and then we'll take a look at how we have to attach this sensor to a particular channel on the monitor. Here's the monitor that comes with it, and you can see on the right side is a power button and the charging port, and on the front is buttons for go, set, back, plus, and minus. Now the antenna is up at the top, so we're going to turn it on, and you can see it has a lot of icons on it that can come up. You saw those when it originally flashed on, and right now it's showing you all the tires that are programmed for my coach. Now you'll see that there are 7 tires right now on my coach, and they blink about every 5 seconds. A different one blinks and will show you its values. Mine are not showing any values now because it just turned on, so it's got to take a few minutes to go gather all the information. For my tow vehicle, I've already got all 4 of those sensors on here, and so what we're going to see here is that once they're on, they'll be able to blink and be in the sequence. Now what's missing is, just like this tag axle tire of mine, what's missing is the outer tag axle. So we're going to put that one in, and we're going to add that in just a second here. I'm going to show you how that works. So what we need to do this is we need the sensor, and you'll take each of the numbered sensors and you know which sensor goes with which tire. I know that my sensor 7 is going to go in this position here that we haven't programmed yet. So we're going to first go in, and the instructions tell you how to do this for everything. But what I'm going to do is show you how to do it just for the programming of one, and then after that you can go in a similar manner program all of the individual tire pressures, and by axle you can program the high and low values for temperature and also the values for pressure. So so let's do that. We're going to press the set key, and we're going to hold it. And you hold it for about 3 seconds or so, and you see this thing pop up, and it says on the bottom, pressure set. So we go from pressure set, we cycle through until we get to one that says Learn ID. When you get to Learn ID, you press set again, and it comes up with the current code for the tire that is blinking. Now you notice it shows all tire positions there because we can go program any tire position we want right now. So I'm going to use the plus key to cycle through these tires, and you'll see that when it gets to a tire that's not on my system, it just shows all F's. So we're going to cycle through these, watching which one's blinking. The ones that have numbers that aren't all F's are ones I have programmed. Now we're on the one I want to program. I want to program this one that's now all F's. And to get it programmed, we're going to press it set one time until it blinks. Then we're going to take the sensor here and put the sensor near it. Now I'm going to hold the sensor down here, and whoops, I'm just going to lay it down here, switch hands, and then we'll hold the sensor up to it and we'll hold the go key. Press go. Okay. And there it goes. So now you see that it has the code for this sensor, and this sensor has been coded. To make sure that is set in stone, we're going to press set, and that tire is programmed. Now, if we go back, there we go. Now you can see that there's no PSI settings or anything for this, so it's going to just, it's all unprogrammed right now, but it is in the system, and you can cycle through and set all of the pressures for it, and you can set anything you want to set for this tire. This is the same way that you would go in and program any tire. Now, when you go in and program these things, you want to be sure you program your low tire pressures first. So that's because if you have a tire that only has like 39 PSI, like my tires in my truck, you'll be able to properly set the high pressure tires. And this card tells you all about that. It tells you everything you need to know. For example, down here you can see where it says to set the pressure parameters, here's all the steps you take, and these are the steps that we just did. And it finishes on the back with the steps for temperature, high temperature alarms, and high pressure alarms. This stuff goes a lot quicker than it looks on this page. It actually happens pretty quick, so you'll see that. Once this was up and running, and once you get everything programmed in there, like they say, you need to attach the sensor to the device, then you need to go in and set your pressures, and then you need to go back and put all of these on the tires using the tool I showed you in the right order. Once all that's done, the monitor will take a few minutes, but then it'll come up and it will show all of the tire pressures around the coach. So I'm going to go back and put this one on in a few minutes, and then my system will be complete. Now, before I made this, I had already put all the sensors and everything on, and I've been running with it a few days, and it has looked pretty good. So I'll talk about that a little bit more as we talk about the repeater that came with it and installing the repeater. I've been using the TST system now for a couple of weeks and really haven't had any problems with it. Now, I haven't put in the repeater yet, the thing that amplifies the signals when you have sensors that are really far away from the display. When we traveled for about an hour after I put it in, we didn't pull the truck behind us. The truck was in front of us, in front of the coach, by quite a ways on the highway, and I was still getting the signal readings from the truck. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. But
it's never a bad idea to put that signal repeater in, especially when they include it in the package. This is what their signal booster looks like with TST. You see the antenna on top, and it has these holes that will allow it to mount on the side of anything you want to put it on. It also has two leads on the end that you can use to put onto your battery, positive and negative terminal. These are the two terminal ends for the signal booster. Now, the wire with the red goes to positive on your battery, and the wire with the black goes to negative, like most other cables. This is the chassis battery compartment for my coach, and up in the left is the old tire minder system. That's the tire minder signal booster, and it goes over here and it's connected to a terminal block that they've put down in the bottom right. This was one that was already on the coach and they just wired into it. So way over on the left up here at the top is where they took in the negative terminal on that top bolt up there with the nut, you can see. And then at the bottom, they tied in the bottom one right down here. So what I'm going to do is take some of these ring terminals that I got at Home Depot, and I'm going to put those two ends of the wires on there and then put those back up here in place of where the tire minder was. So that should be sufficient. Now you can use other methods to do this too. You can actually use battery clamps, you can use other things, but that's how I'm going to be connecting this to my coach to replace the one that was there for the tire minder. My early reading on this is that this is going to work pretty well, and based on everything I've seen from Facebook readings and from other people that I've spoken with, between the tire minder and the TST, they've got a really good system. They both have really good systems. So I expect this is going to work pretty well, and I'm going to continue to using it for quite a while. If there's anything that I see that's out of the ordinary or not so good, I'll be sure to come back and tell you. Until next time, this is Mike Griffin.